course. Hello again, AI. What's your opinion on the origin of religions and what does the world look like without them? Thanks. I think everybody has this notion that the world will be better off without religion. A, that's not going to happen. You can't have human society, culture, or civilization without the need to establish a series of beliefs and traditions, usually associated with how we should live and what will happen to us after we die. And obviously, religion is the biggest candidate to answer those questions, because everybody is afraid of death and wants to live a good life, so their death is not painful somehow. And the truth of the matter is, I think that I think religion is just an integral part of the human experience, and I think we've seen examples of plenty of secular societies that have been horrifyingly evil, and plenty of religious societies that have also been horrifyingly evil. So the idea that religion is necessarily a net bad is not true. I think religion is neutral and can be used for good or evil purposes depending on the people who are using it. Are they using it to help others? Are they using it for power? What's the matter? So. Harry, I mean, if nationalization in itself is socialist, then that means British conservatives are socialists and European conservatives, for the most part, would be socialists. I didn't say it was the only form. You've got redistribution of wealth, you've got confiscation. I don't like the argument that that having a fire department is socialist, for instance. I think that's a Jejune argument. I think you have to have several features across the board met at different times. Confiscation of wealth, redistribution of wealth, things like that. Are typically in nationalization, indeed, a mass nationalization, usually indicated by, there's other things that I'm blanking on at the moment, but those are some of the main indicators of a socialist society. Are you interested in the market? As somebody who has money in the market, I'm certainly interested in it. Horace, how should the Republican Party be compared to fascism when they support capitalism and fascists don't? Fascism is not capitalistic. I really disdain the idea that it was capitalistic. What was the only free market caveat was that Mussolini let the manufacturers in Italy do what they wanted, as long as they supported his ideologies and let the Italian government do what they wanted. So the truth of the matter is, I don't see fascism as capitalistic. It can be seen as right-wing. I don't see the Nazis as right-wing. It's hard to make the case that the National Socialist Workers' Party was a right-wing organization. There was definitely a lot of nationalization going on in Germany in the 1930s. That's how Goering was basically able to get rid of unemployment, by basically drafting everyone to work for the government, for businesses that were controlled by the government to produce certain factors. So the Republican Party gets compared to fascism because of the rhetoric of people like Donald Trump, who is often compared to a fascist as well, which I think is an insult to fascism. I mean, that is not a fascist. I mean, you could have so many better examples of actual fascists who promote fascist ideology. Let me see here. Is this channel corporate? No, it is not corporate, but hopefully it will be monetized soon. If you like and subscribe, we're getting on our way there. Go check out my videos, long form ones, Mondays and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and my short form content dropping every day. Henry Rice. I know, I've heard that argument before, that he faked the Butler incident. He certainly did not. And the Reichstag fire was not faked as well. And Trump did not use that to seize power. He wasn't even in power when he was shot. Let me see here. I mean, you never hear about United States trade unions bringing the country to a halt. You hear it all the time in Scandinavia, if they have a company taking the mick or if they have a government. That's not true. The coal miners' strike in the early 1900s did that. There were many strikes throughout the 1900s and early 1910s. The Haymarkets riots, late 1800s, there are plenty of strikes in the United States that brought about a screeching halt. Trade unions have lost a lot of their power because they have been associated with more dubious characters and have lost a lot of their influence, and many people have turned their back on them, as America tends to be more conservative in those lands. So I completely understand the notion that they have stronger trade unions in Sweden and Scandinavia, but did it ever occur to you that they needed that because of how free their markets are? Something hard to find on the internet. Nevada tried to secede from the USA after the Civil War. Nevada was a slave-free state. Slave-free state? Huh? I don't know what you mean. Switzerland is a social country, but also capitalist. They believe in helping you live a certain quality of life. Yes, there's definitely a balance to be found there in Switzerland and in many of the European countries that has place to be criticized, but is not necessarily socialist and not necessarily capitalist. It's more of a halfway mark. Why was JFK assassinated? Depends on who you ask. A lot of people today, like his nephew, are saying that he was assassinated because he refused to escalate U.S. involvement in Vietnam, and the CIA did not trust him after the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs. Where are you from? I'm from the United States. I don't get into much more detail after that. We've gone over an hour, by the way, folks, so I appreciate everyone staying in. If you like history and social studies, consider